Hi, it's Chris again, and today we're going to be looking at how to get the best out of the infiniti colour. Okay, so there's a couple of little tips. People have been talking a lot online and posting some stuff, so I just wanted to clarify a couple of my ideas behind how to really get the best out of coverage and vibrancy for this colour. The first thing you sort of got to remember when you're using this colour is it's a very modern colour. In comparison to some of the more traditional colours, so therefore it has its own set of rules, and basically what I've done is narrowed these down to 4. So there are 4 rules that if you follow them, I'm not saying it's going to work 100% all of the time, because clients' hair is very difficult and very different, but you may have to take these formulas and adapt them slightly. But what you'll find is that 95% of the time, if not more, using these 4 rules, you're going to get the coverage and the vibrancy and the longevity that you're looking for. All right, so we're going to get straight into it. Okay, so the first rule that we are going to be looking at is for coverage. So basically, we're going to call it the 70% rule. And this is a rule that when I'm reading through feeds and when I'm looking at things online, a lot of people are struggling to get their head around this. So this is a very simplistic way, because I'm kind of simple, so I've boiled it down into the simplest form possible, but it works for me. I do a lot with this colour, and it's very rare that I have any issues or any major problems. Like I said, these 4 rules that I'm going to show you really do help to get the first one, as I said, is the 70% rule. And it has a part A and a part B to it. So part A is very simple. What you have to remember is that infiniti colour is 100ml tubes. So what the chemist has done is put base in the tube already. So a lot of other brands get you to buy a 60ml tube and then add base to that. Infiniti doesn't. Infiniti already has the base in it. So if you have no grey hair, up to 70% grey hair, you simply use your target colour. Okay, I apologise for my writing, it's not the best in the world, but hopefully you can read that, okay? And again, on the shade chart, what you'll see is there is actually some swatches, because again, a lot of younger people go, oh my god, she's so grey, she's so grey. And then actually, if you look on the shade chart, you've got your 25, your 50, your 70%. So if your client has no grey hair, up to 70% grey hair, you are simply using your target colour. So let's say, for argument's sake, our client wants a 7.3. So you are simply going to use your 7.3. That's it. No need to add base. Use the shade that you want. If your client has 70 to 100% grey hair, all you do is go 1 shade darker. Okay, so in this instance, my lady wants to be 7.3. She's 100%, 70 to 100% white. All I do is put on a 6.3. And this works like glass. 0 to 70% is like frosted glass. So there's something for the colour to stick to. Over 70% is like translucent glass. You put the colour on, it goes 1 shade lighter. So by going 1 shade darker, you solve the problem. And people go to me, oh, my client's really super resistant. So there's a couple of little things you can start off by doing. Okay. The first thing is you can add 1/4 of your corresponding 01. So again, if we look on the shade chart on our base pages, you have your base, you have your warms, and then you have your cools, your 01s. So by adding 1/4 of the corresponding 01, because green is a nice big molecule, it just basically fills the hair and gives it something to stick onto. And by using just 1/4, you don't affect the result of your target colour. it can just help with very resistant hair to cover those last few greys that people seem to have. Also as well, don't forget, Infinity is a neutral colour. So again, if you're putting it up to another colour that works not on a neutral base, you are always going to see a difference in the colours. And again, people sort of go, oh, I'm getting root glow. And then you ask them what colours on the mid-lengths and ends, and it's like, okay, well that's a very dark flat colour. The Infinity on the root is going to look warm in comparison to that. So again, there's a lot to sort of think about when you're doing this, but this is basic sort of 4 rules to help you along. Okay, so in this instance, we've gone that 1 shade darker. We would simply add 1/4 of our 601. Okay, and like I said, by adding that 1/4 to the hair, all you're doing is helping to fill the hair and give the colour something to stick to. You won't actually affect the target, you'll just help the colour to stick to the hair. That works again for, I'd say, most people's hair. Most European hair, definitely, that rule works for. There is an OX range, okay? So if you have Asian hair, Afro hair, Mediterranean hair, I would always say try the 01 first, okay? If that doesn't work, because they have very stubborn hair, then I would say then try just 1/4 of the OX. So again, replace the 01 with the OX. I've been using Affinage now for 10 years. I've actually only used the OX once, and that was on a Maltese lady. She was 100% white, very resistant, wanted a very flat coverage as well on her hair. So that was the only time that I've personally ever used the OX. On the odd occasion I have had a few little greys coming through. I just use the 1/4 of the 01 and that solves the problem for me. So that's the first rule. Nice and simple, and like all of these rules, it's a case of trusting it and going with it, okay, because it works. So we'll move on to rule 2.